What is going on, guys, and welcome to the fourth entry in our ongoing series of videos on secrets, Easter eggs, and random facts you may not have been aware of in the WWE 2K series, stretching from its 1999 debut entry Smackdown all the way up to last year's much maligned WWE 2K20. In this video, we're going to focus on the 4th edition, which was Smackdown Shut Your Mouth, the first edition of the series to fall exclusively under the WWE banner, and there are some really juicy ones in here that you certainly won't want to miss, so let's get to it and not waste any more time. Be sure to subscribe and click on that notification bell, because today we're going to look at 11 facts you didn't know about WWE Smackdown Shut Your Mouth. Number 1. Hidden in-game music. Now, despite the wealth of wrestlers' theme music available in the final release version of Shut Your Mouth, you might be surprised to find out there was a way to unlock even more audio, and it wasn't especially hard to do if you knew what you were doing. If you downloaded the program MF Audio and then inserted the game disc into your PC, it would function as a music CD so you could listen to your favorite tracks whenever you liked. There were also a few surprises to be found here, such as debut Tough Enough winner Maven's entrance theme and additional music for the likes of Edge, Christian and Billy and Chuck. Why this music wasn't included in the main game is unclear, as it was already on the disc anyway, but either way, this is the only way you'll get to hear it, so be sure to check this one out. Number 2. More firsts and last. As with all entries of the WWE 2K series, there were wrestlers who saw their in-game debut in this edition, while there were others who were removed to make space. We'll go on to removals a little later on in the video, but this game saw the first appearances of WCW Invasion carryovers such as the eternally underrated Billy Kidman, Billy Gunn's dance partner Chuck Palumbo and Rico, former WCW champion Diamond Dallas Page, women's stars Jazz and Tori Wilson, Tough Enough winner Maven, and future legends Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar. It's strange to remember a time before Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar, given how much they've dominated the WWE scene for almost 2 decades now, but back here, they were still fresh-faced and eager to prove themselves. Number 3. Hidden movesets. Despite not technically being in the game, it was actually very simple to make a lot of your favorite missing wrestlers through Shut Your Mouth's creation suite, as Ukes had very handily and very sneakily included the movesets of various wrestlers as presents that could be chosen by the player. Among the best of these were Bill Goldberg, Ric Flair, Terry Funk, Rey Mysterio, Vader, Andre the Giant and R-Truth. Yeah, R-Truth was going even all the way back then. That man just doesn't age, does he? Aside from these, there were many others, including a lot of Japanese stars at the time, so you could easily double your playable roster if you were willing to put a bit of time into this one. We'd recommend going back and trying this one and seeing what surprises you can find after all these years. Number 4. Snowball fights. Here's a fun one. You may not have known that it was actually possible to start a snowball fight in the middle of a match. Yeah, it may seem a bit silly to think about the likes of The Undertaker or Steve Austin playfully throwing snow at each other, but it was all just harmless fun. To do this, you had to select a hardcore match and have it be in the Smackdown arena. If you fought your way to the outside section and it was winter time, then you could stand near one of the few helpful mounds of snow that are collected and simply press R1 to grab a handful and throw it at your opponent. It's hilarious to watch them sell the snowball like a rifle shot as they do a full bump back onto the ground, and it looks like something you might see in the 24/7 title division nowadays. Number 5. Exploding cars. Another backstage secret in Shut Your Mouth can be found in the parking lot backstage area and kinda sounds like a feature that escaped from a Grand Theft Auto game. Similarly to the last entry, you would have to work your way backstage in a hardcore match, though this time you must select the Raw arena. Once in the parking lot, you would find a bunch of cars that you could Irish whip your opponent into. Do this around 4 or 5 times and the car would explode in a Michael Bay-esque fireball. Okay, it's not that dramatic, but it will do some damage to your opponent and can be a helpful way to get that edge over them in the match. Number 6. Cut content. Now, the biggest thing going in WWE around the time of the game's release was the debut of the New World Order featuring Scott Hall, Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan. Vince McMahon brought the famous faction in to quote-unquote kill the WWF kayfabe-wise. Now, both Nash and Hogan are playable in the game, but Hall is nowhere to be seen. He was intended to be in the game and was included in Wrestlemania 18 for the GameCube. However, in this game, he was cut in the final edition of Shut Your Mouth due to drug and alcohol-related issues. The bad guy was replaced by X-Pac, who was the 4th member of the group. Shane McMahon was also going to be part of the roster, but was also removed later on in development. His entrance motion can still be found in the game, and modders have even managed to put him back into it. And according to Scott J01, who has a fantastic video on the definitive edition of Shut Your Mouth, be sure to check out his videos in the link in the description below, Deborah was also supposed to be playable in the game with her Alliance attire, and Kurt Angle would wear his famous wig during his entrance. Number 7. Some incredibly funny unlockable entrances. Entrance options are so bland in current WWE games, but back in the day, THQ added some rather special entrances that could be unlocked and used for in-game wrestlers. Some hilarious ones include Booker T being blasted by his own pyro,
From Houston, Texas, weighing 251 pounds, Booker T.
and not to mention a thriller zombie dance, but it also gets downright bizarre like this one.
Pounds, Gold Dust.
Man, they just don't make them like this anymore. Number 8. Crowd Brawls. There was a glitch in Smackdown Shut Your Mouth that allowed you to brawl in the crowd in a manner that was similar to a lot of what was being seen on WWE television at the time. To do this, you would have to wrestle as either Rob Van Dam or a custom created character that had the Van Daminator as their special chair move. Once selected, you would have to go to the left of the ring during a match and make sure your opponent was closer to the camera than you were. Once you were about halfway between the ring and the barricade, you would then need to do the Van Daminator, and if it all went right, you would be pulled into the crowd along with your flailing opponent. It takes a bit of practice to get it right, but once you figure it out, it's easy enough and opened a whole new area to brawl in. Number 9. Hidden Faces. This one actually ties in closely to the number 3 entry on this list. While in that one we showed you how to find various wrestlers' hidden movesets, it was an equally simpler way of creating the looks of a number of sneakily hidden in-game characters too. When creating a wrestler, you would have to follow the same numerical sequence when choosing each facial part. So for example, you could pick option 7 for hair, eyes, cheeks, etc. To do this, you would end up with the perfect recreation of Scott Hall, somebody as we mentioned before was removed from the game. And do the same but with option 2 and you would get D'Lo Brown. There were loads of them to be found, far too many to list here, but amongst the best were Bret the Hitman Hart, Mean Gene Okerlund, Ken Shamrock, and at the time a young rookie John Cena. It wasn't just limited to wrestlers either. You could also create Harry Potter or David Beckham if you chose the right options. We're not sure JK Rowling signed off on this one, but it's there nonetheless. Number 10. Not just the Smackdown Fist. We all loved being able to climb the Smackdown Fist and brawl it out with our opponents and Shut Your Mouth. All of these years later, it's one of the most memorable parts of the game, but this wasn't the only arena structure you could climb up. If you chose to battle it out in the King of the Ring arena, you could also climb the giant ringside throne. Choosing the Armageddon area would also allow you to scale the girders on either side of the entranceway. The same could also be done in the UK exclusive Rebellion arena. This is a feature we'd love to see make a return to modern WWE games because, let's be honest, it was too much fun doing a Swanton Bomb or a 5-star frog splash off these great heights and splashing down onto your opponents. Just make sure you manage to hit your opponent and not fall straight onto the floor. And number 11, keep on rolling. Here's our last one that some of you may not have been aware of. We all remember The Undertaker riding his bike down to the ring in this game, as it was during his period as the American Badass. But what you may not have known is that you could ride his bike during a match by running up to it and pressing R1. From there you would get a little vehicle mini-game as you could drive forward by pressing X, reverse with triangle, and press square to brake. It's not exactly Gran Turismo, but it's fun anyway. But there you have it guys, 11 facts you didn't know about WWE Smackdown Shut Your Mouth. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more video game content.